When you're constantly replaced. My story of friendship and betrayal. Have you ever felt invisible, completely overlooked, as if no one truly sees you? As if the world moves on without you? That feeling, that deep hollow. It never leaves. Hello, good afternoon. Before I begin to tell you my story, I must give you 3 important explanations about my life so that you understand what has brought me to this situation. Explanation 1. I am an antisocial person since I was a child. I have never been bullied, but in a way I bullied myself for as long as I can remember. I was nervous when people talked to me, I didn't know how to relate. I've always been disgusted by the way I look. I was always afraid of what others would think of me. I never knew if it was because of some undiagnosed disorder. But the point is that it made me anxious and depressed, which necessitated prescription meds. But everything exploded when the pandemic started when I was 15 years old. I thought that thanks to virtuality I could overcome everything, take advantage of this time to improve myself. But no, as I was going through this age, what happened to every kid happened. Acne came. But my case was abnormal. The hormonal imbalance of age, plus the genetic inheritance of 2 parents with sensitive and susceptible skins, plus constant stress that agitated me mentally, made my acne so abnormal that specialists had to see it. My face was full, unrecognizable, and my self-esteem was at rock bottom. I wouldn't leave my room. I wouldn't turn on the cameras for virtual classes. I was in a constant hole and it was getting worse. I weighed 100 kilos when I was 15 years old and I was 5'10". This is just context, you don't have to worry. At almost 18 years old, I have lost almost 30 kilos and I am improving little by little. I relate better. Sometimes it is hard for me, but I no longer think so much about what people think. Explanation 2. During that time, when I was in a deep depression hole, I started to frequent the internet more. Forums, Discord servers, apps to meet people, and it was on one of those servers that this all started. Explanation 3. 2 months after joining a Discord server and meeting new people, I fell in love with a girl from another country, who I called Girl 1. I tried not to get my hopes up too high because she was from another country and was still young. We both knew we liked each other, and were considering starting something. But a week after we confessed, she became a girlfriend of a guy in our group of friends. I knew I shouldn't get my hopes up, but I think I fell into depression because of the shock that my first love would replace me like that. Anyway, 5 months later I met Girl 2. She was nice, and I ended up falling in love with her. Her problem? It seems she had a crush on me and a friend and didn't know what to do. Although in the end she chose me. Eventually the thought that I might not be chosen began to haunt me. We ended things as friends and got along well, even though we don't talk anymore. 6 months later, I fell in love again. This time, not spontaneously, but with a girl, Girl 3, who I'd been friends with for 1 year. She felt different. We had the same tastes, same moods, same hobbies. We seemed perfect together. We both liked each other but didn't want to formalize. Me, because I still had self-esteem issues, her because her mother was very strict and conservative. But I really liked her, so I decided that as a first step in my personal improvement, I would go to her country to meet her and her mother, talk to them, and formalize with the mother's permission. The old-fashioned way, I guess. Girl 3 was very happy. My dad supported me because he already knew her and had spoken to her before. We were making plans to go in 2 months. This happened around June 2022. By this point, I had decided to leave the internet in general, but I kept talking to her through WhatsApp. Everything was fine until suddenly, for a week, she stopped talking to me. Without warning, I thought something happened with her mother, but thanks to my best friend, I found out she became a girlfriend of a guy. I was devastated. I relapsed into self-harm. I had a severe anxiety attack that I hadn't had in 1 year. It was so bad that I had to call my dad to calm me down. It was horrible to go through that. Things got better. We talked months later. She accepted her mistake, and I accepted that I got my hopes up too high. We ended well, and we talk from time to time. Why do I tell you all this? Because, as you will see from past experiences, I have developed a fear or trauma of being replaced. And now I do. Now the story of the title that brought you here. If you made it this far, thank you. You are an empathetic person. 2 years ago, at my lowest point, on one of these servers, I met my best friend, who we'll call BF, to differentiate from the other girls. We were both mods on a server and became friends. I liked her, but at this time I didn't develop love for her. I was in transition from what happened with Girl 1. But we became pretty close when I helped her deal with a problem with her lunatic ex. About this guy, I'll just say he was a manipulative creep. Anyway, within 2 months she became friends with a guy from her town that I also met on Discord. He was a nice guy, and we became close friends. By this point, I was already friends with Girl 3 and was about to start something with Girl 2. Little by little, I made him closer to BF. She was nice to me, and we trusted each other. We each had our problems, and we would tell each other and help each other. I would tell her about my insecurities, and she would tell me about her problems with her alcoholic father, just as we both talked about our partners asking for advice. By this point, we became best friends. We would tell each other everything, so it went on until we reached June 2022. I had decided to leave the internet to concentrate on my development and school altogether, but I had not stopped talking to her as we had our numbers. By this point, we had had some problems. Over the year of friendship, it had become recurrent that I would give her advice, and she would ignore me, and it would backfire. This did not matter to me. After all, I wasn't her boss or anything. So every time it happened, we would laugh at the irony. A month went by since I left, and we found out that her boyfriend had been cheating on her for 2 months. Yes, it was ugly. We confronted the girls, and they apologized because they didn't know, while he was upset because he felt manipulated against. This guy, X1, was a manipulator. I guess we should have seen him before, but he seemed nice. He was my friend, I had his number, I didn't insult him. I just told him if he cared about her, not to talk to her until she calmed down. I spent the next 3 months helping BF get over this, get her to open up and accept her problems, as the issue with her father was getting worse. It was a difficult time, but I made sure I was there for her, just as she was there for me 3 months ago when Girl 3 broke my heart. Now comes something that continues to make me feel guilty. In these 3 months, I don't know why, I fell in love with her. Maybe it was the closeness generated based on her breakup, the constant talking to help her, or just because all that, plus the fact that she has always been nice, plus she is pretty cute, made me have romantic feelings. I didn't say anything. I didn't want to take advantage of her trust. I waited, hoping it would pass. Things got better. November 2022, she was mostly over it, doing better. I felt it was time to tell her how I felt, not expecting reciprocation, just to lift the burden. A week before December, she told me she had a new boyfriend, EX2. Because of our closeness, I knew she wasn't ready, but it hurt. December 2022 was hard. She started talking to me less. The few times she did, it was asking for advice or telling me about her boyfriend. I felt replaced again. Before hatred developed, I told her I liked her and that it would be good to take some time from our friendship. 2 months passed. I turned 17, moved out. February 2023, she came back. I tried to kill my romantic feelings. It didn't work fully, but we went back to being great friends. Time went on. Distrust issues with EX2. Advice ignored. She would stop talking, come back. I felt like a friend only when problems arose. She never reciprocated in the way I needed. BF and EX1 became friends again. I saw them online, happy together, and I felt replaced. 2 days ago, everything got worse. I noticed a match icon with EX1. I couldn't hold back tears. Why? Because I cared so much about something so stupid. Months of being assured I was her best friend felt meaningless. I feel alone. I feel abandoned. All the times I've been replaced are tearing me apart. I wonder if I am paranoid, if I push people away unknowingly. I need help. I don't know who to ask. I am afraid. Afraid of being wrong, manipulated, paranoid, alone, replaced. If you are reading this, if you have even the slightest bit of advice or words of encouragement, please leave them. Thank you for watching. If you want to support more stories like this, subscribe to subreddit Tomb. Your presence matters.